Welcome back to All the Smoke. We got a very special episode. Jack, last time we were in D.C., we got a chance to sit down with the former Vice President, Kamala Harris.
Yep.
Now, we're back in D.C.
Yep.
And we got some very special guests.
It gets better and better.
We got a chance to sit down with Craig Robinson on Unplugged. Man, was that about a year ago?
Yeah.
And he brought his little sister today.
I did.
You did.
That's
Crazy who his little
that's me.
sister is, though.
Yeah.
What kind of, it's crazy to say.
Welcome to the show, Miss Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson.
Thanks for having us, man.
Having us.
Another legendary episode.
So we did a crossover for our fans. We got a chance to sit down on their show yesterday and had an amazing outside of our normal scope type of conversation. So you guys make sure you guys check that out. We'll let you know when that's dropping. And then today they paid the favor back and it's all the smoke time.
Yeah, we on your territory.
Yes, indeed. We already had a violator, but we got to keep it PG, Crystal said, so we can't talk about that. But Jack, let's get it going. What we got?
Let's start with a boxing question.
Ooh, boxing. Okay.
We heard back in the day that y'all had a couple squabbles.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Okay, so who was mostly on top?
She always got to win the fight.
Did she left you?
She always got to win the fights. So the backstory is, everyone, that my dad was a boxer.
Okay.
Not professionally, but he boxed in high school and boxed in the Army. And he bought us boxing gloves. Well, I should say Santa Claus got us boxing gloves for Christmas one year.
Make that clear.
That was daddy.
Yeah.
Who's
And
We just crushing dreams here.
Yeah, don't do that, Jack. I got 2 kids that still believe in Santa Claus.
No way. I blame you for that.
Ashton's 6. What do you mean? He's supposed
I'm
to
just
believe
saying,
in Santa
bro,
Claus.
it's too much time to pass. You can't be telling your kid a white man coming down your street.
Here
Yeah,
you go. Here you
You
go.
work too hard. Give
Ashton,
our credit to another. Come on.
there
now.
is
We don't
still
want
a
him to be
Santa
comfortable
Claus.
with
We're not
that.
doing that. We're not doing that. Not in my house.
Right.
So my dad taught us how to box, and we used to practice with each other, but I was always practicing on defense. He didn't want me to hit her. She could
Well, that
hit
makes
me.
sense.
Okay.
So she really
Seems to
won
be.
all of the boxing squabbles we had. And then when we were fighting for real, she'd win all the arguments too. So, yeah.
Sounds like she's undefeated.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the beauty of our dad. Anything he did, I did.
Okay.
So I learned right along with him. He was going to learn how to box. I learned how to box. If you were learning how to pitch, I was learning how to catch.
Mhm.
You know, I was right there. I was his little shadow.
Mhm.
He's like, me too.
Yeah.
I can do it too. And then that got me ready because we had 2 of our favorite cousins were boys.
Yes.
And they were about the same age. So I was really
In the
the
mix.
only girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved I loved that time. But we would all box
We all boxed with each other.
and I would still beat them.
Yeah. Because they weren't told not to hit her.
Okay.
So she was
So
fighting
she
them
had to
for
fend
real.
for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So you got her ready. Both of you guys had very obviously impressive journeys and jobs leading up to where we are now. The podcast space. Craig, I know you jumped in a while. You guys now have something together. What interested you guys and made you guys want to come together as a brother-sister duo and have your guys' show?
You know, it was, first of all, our team suggested it. You know, we've got Higher Ground, our production company. We have an audio division, and our team was like, you know, it'd be good to have a really foundational, always-on show. You know, and I'm sitting around looking like, yeah, who we gonna get? And they were like, how about you?
Right.
And it was like, Craig had been podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, okay, if it's going to be fun, I'll do it. And so they were like, why don't you do it with Craig? I was like, that would be fun. And around the time we started doing it, our mom was sick. You know, so we were in the process of kind of mourning her loss. And, you know, the thing when you lose your last parent is you really are it, you know. For me and Craig, of our immediate family, our nieces, nephews, we're it. We're the elders. So this has also been kind of a good way for us to force continuous communication, you know. We did a podcast before my mother died. We just did a special episode around Becoming and the Light We Carried, my 2 books. And we did a show with my mom.
Oh, really?
The 3 of us talking about childhood and parenthood. And that was sort of the beginning of it. So the notion that we can keep this going, still be in conversation with each other is a real gift and kind of a tribute to our mom and dad.
And I get to see my little sister more often this way. You know, I'm seeing her once a month now, where it was only big holidays.
Mhm.
And by the way, today's mom's birthday.
Oh gosh.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
So happy birthday, Mom.
I was so
birthday.
busy today.
Yeah. So this means a lot for you all having us on. And
Well, obviously,
this time.
condolences for the loss of your mother. I lost my mom too, and that's how Jack and I actually really became close. He got traded to our team. He had a historical run in the very beginning of the next season. My mom was diagnosed November 1st with 4 cancers, all in stage 4, and died November 27th. So within 26 days, she was gone. And Jack was there for me daily. But I wanted to ask you guys, obviously, it's been almost 18 years for me, and there's not a day that passes. What has that process been like? Because obviously we'll touch a little bit later, but your dad lost his battle with MS nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And as you said, you guys are the last two kind of standing. So what was that journey like for you guys individually? Obviously, being able to communicate together is important, but what was your journey like individually when you lost your mom?
Yeah. Luckily, we had a special year together. You know, my mom was 86. She was in good health mentally, but, you know, just her body was breaking down. So, you know, there were signs that she had some health challenges, even though she worked out all the time. She would travel. She would, you know, it's just that age was catching up. So we had clues that, you know, we got to make the most of our time. So the last time my mom got really sick, she was with me, with us in our home in Hawaii. And I would still have to force her to come and stay a while because my mom was fiercely independent. You know, she lived with us for 8 years at the White House, but she did it kicking and screaming, not because she didn't love us, but she really believed that she raised us. You go on, you have your life, you're with your husband. She loved Barack. You have your wife, she loves Kelly, but she believed in, you know, grown people having their own household. And I was like, well, the White House is kind of big, Mom. So you're not going to be infringing. So she always resisted being up in our space. But fortunately, when she got sick, she was with me. And she had to stay longer because she was in and out of the hospital. I was able to care for her, you know, spend that time getting her nurses, making sure, you know, changing her, washing her, all those sort of special things that I didn't get to do for her because we didn't live in the same cities. And so I saw it as a gift that I got those months with her. And in that process, we were kind of saying goodbye almost through it all. I remember I shared this on another podcast that, you know, one day me and Mom were sitting on the couch in the guest house where she was staying on our property. And I was just holding her hand. We were watching Judge Judy or something like that. And she leaned over and she says, "Man, that was quick." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Life." You know, and that stuck with me because my mother was always one of those people who was not afraid of death. She didn't want us mourning her. But you realize at that time that she felt life was quick. She wasn't ready. You know, life was too good, you know, and you think you're going to be ready, but you realize that, you know, when you've got a good life and you're surrounded by the people you love, you want it to go on. So, you know, though that time helped me in a way that I couldn't have imagined mourn her loss.
And for me, we lived about 90 minutes from my mom.
Okay.
So we could take the train down and go see her. And we would go as she got older and became a little bit more unhealthy. I won't say unhealthy, but as she aged and was having more problems, we were down there like once a week. And sort of the same thing when we talk about stuff. The thing I would like people to know, both as those of us who are getting older, plus the young folks out there, is my mom always talked about dropping dead for like 20 years.
It's like,
She
you
talked about
better
dropping
get
dead.
your life together because when I drop dead, you know.
Yeah. So she would say, when our dad died, don't mourn too much. He knew you loved him and you all knew he loved you. And that's all you really want. And so she always made sure that all of us, Mish and I, our kids, knew that she loved them. She was a very loving grandmother. And so when the time came, it's never easy, as you guys know, but it was easier for us because she prepared us. And I try to do the same thing with my children. Like, I try to tell them I love them all the time, how proud I am of them. And it just, and you don't get over it. I think about my father.
Yeah.
I think Dad's death was harder.
It was
right?
harder because it came out of nowhere and
Yeah.
we were still
Well,
young.
Even though he was battling with MS, it was one of those things like, he was going to work one day and a few
Got
weeks
sick.
later, that was that. And for whatever reason, probably because of you can't prepare,
Yeah.
when you get that diagnosis. And for some reason, that hits me harder than my mom, right? Because our dad died before a lot of things. He didn't get to walk me down the aisle.
Right.
He got to meet Avery, your oldest son. Avery was alive before. So he didn't meet any of his grandkids. He didn't see the fruits of all of his hard work. Even though he always knew we were special, right? He was that dad that told us every day, you got the light glowing within you, but it would have been nice for him to see all that,
Fruits of his labor.
Yeah.
You spoke in your book about obviously his battling MS, but really kind of keeping it to himself and keeping life as normal as possible. What did you guys learn from kind of his strength through the process and during his journey?
It was almost as if we didn't even notice he had MS.
Wow.
Because he was such a powerful figure in our family. Like, he was the person that everybody came to for advice, even people who are older than him. So my grandfather on my mom's side always confided in my father. And so it got to a point, and he got up and went to work every day. He started with a cane when we were young. He walked with a limp. Then it went to a cane. Then he had crutches. Then he had the crutches that wrap around your arms. And finally, before he died, he had a van that you sort of had to use a rascal to get in. But he went to work every day, and he was always on time. So he would prepare so nobody ever had to wait for him. So it never felt like he was disabled, but we knew he was disabled. And you're right, Matt, he kept it to himself. But we were living in a time where I'm sure you guys remember these days, you only went to a doctor if you got sick and you went to the emergency room. That's how we had health care. We didn't have a family doctor. So he rarely went to get checked on. And having said all of that, we were still surprised when he died. And it hit me, it hit both of us so hard. And
I think what I don't do is take my physical being, my health for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, to see my father who, he contracted MS in the prime of his life. So he was an athlete. He was a swimmer. He was a boxer. He was a cool dude. He was a jazz dude. To go from that to have an unexplained loss of the use of your legs, that stands out for me even now. That's why I work out. That's why, I pick up a tennis racket. That's why, we're a family of sports and movement, because we saw our father miss out on that. So I don't take it for granted. I also think what we learned from him is not withholding. Like, there was strength in that, but we got into some arguments about the fact that my dad wasn't like fighting to find answers. It's like, well, why don't you go to a physical therapist? Why don't you, look at, enroll yourself in a research study? I mean, that stoicism also kept him from finding perhaps some other
alternative
therapies that would have made his life easier. So that strong Black man kind of I got it thing, we don't know what the outcome might have been. So fighting for health care, having conversations about childhood obesity. I mean, when I think about kind of the things I took up as First Lady, the kind of things that we talked about in the White House, a lot of that has to do with your health is not guaranteed. And so, I think that there's a part of me that tried to push against that with my brother, all the Black men in my life. I want them to be super conscious.
Right.
I don't want them to think that that's strength, you know. I don't want that strength to put them in the grave.
In a bad spot.
Yeah.
My hard-headed co-host just went through something similar, didn't she, sir?
Okay, hardhead. What'd you do?
Yeah.
Well, I got hit by a car too.
What?
And just years of playing basketball, and my body was acting up. I should have went to the doctor and got checked. I had felt something in my hip, so I decided to go. And he told me if I would have showed up 2 months later, I would have needed a new hip and screws. So it was a minor surgery that he went through my back and is able to fix my tear in my hip. I had a cyst on my spine and some stuff that I need to clean up from sports all these years.
Yeah.
And just been dodging the doctor, just like your father.
Yeah.
I'm all right. I got it. And I really have that attitude. But this definitely woke me up.
Yeah.
Because I've never been through surgery or nothing like that before.
And I will tell you now, as having been in the sports realm as a coach and as a front office guy, you guys train yourselves to play through pain.
Yep.
And that is not a good thing.
Mm-mm.
And so get your baseline blood work done. I was
Well,
almost
look
40.
who's talking.
Well, I'm talking.
So we don't have to experience the same stuff. Right?
I'm talking
Yeah.
because I know I was 37, 38 before I had a whole physical done that wasn't a sports physical, where you're just checking to make sure everything, your joints and everything are working. And you get a baseline blood work done. And then from then on, there's so much technology now, they can help you
Predict.
avoid a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I got a colonoscopy coming up, and I'm not happy with it, but
You
I got
can
to
do it.
I
You
know,
can
yeah,
do
I'm
it.
already.
Yeah, I know. She been trying to. I ain't ready for that one.
Oh, it's
please.
not about
Yeah.
being ready. You just got to
Gotta
do
do
it. It's not, they put you to sleep.
Listen.
Sound
You can't-
good.
Listen,
You
listen.
can't afford it.
Just
You can't.
know what's going on.
I've
That's
had-
what's bothering me.
I've had enough of them that now I don't even use I can drive myself there and drive myself home, so I don't get any medicine. It's so
All right, I'm
easy.
going to follow up with you when you
Yes.
drop your sons
Yes.
off at school.
Yes.
And I'm definitely going
There
to
you
check
go.
to make sure you get a colonoscopy.
I will.
See?
All right,
I ain't gonna
we got
Hey,
that.
the First Lady told you.
I ain't gonna fight her.
Real quick before we
I heard how
transition.
she did you all your life.
Right, exactly. You don't want her showing up at your doorstep.
No smoke.
Real quick before we transition, the podcast space is obviously it's used in different ways now. Obviously, policy driven and politically, it's a big platform. What do you guys hope that your fan base gets? Not that you have a political podcast, but what was your goals when you guys started this, and what do you hope that your fans get from you two coming together and sharing?
For me, I always felt like over these last years since they've been out of the White House, people have missed hearing from my sister.
Absolutely.
They have missed hearing from her.
Some sense.
I didn't miss it because she called me up all the time, and I'm like, I
He's
still
like,
gotta
he's
hear.
trying to miss it. It's like, give me
But-
a minute to miss it.
So that's a big part of it. And when Mish talked a little bit about why we're doing this, and as you guys know, part of our episode, we get questions from our listeners. And that is right up our alley of just trying to help folks give back. And it's a tribute to our parents. We had some really cool experiences thanks to our parents. Plus the lessons we've learned, we just wanted to share them with the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
And it warms my heart now that I'm walking through the airport and people are like, we love your podcast. And it's
Crazy,
not
right?
just, so when I first started this, I was like, okay, Black women are gonna come up to me now. I'm all right. I love your podcast. Everybody, all kinds of people, all different genders, all kinds of races. And it warms my heart. And then but the best one is when there was a 23-year-old with her boyfriend who came over and she said, I absolutely love the podcast. And I was like, you mind me asking how old you are?
Right.
She said, I'm 23. I was like, you like this? And she was
You're
like,
not supposed to.
I know, but
it's our hype guy.
shocked me.
It's like,
It shocked me.
seriously?
It's like, because this whole room is surrounded by young folks. I can see them enjoying your podcast, but ours, it just felt like I feel like an old guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you
But
know, a lot
It's resonating.
of people are lonely, right? And we grew up in community. We grew up not just with our immediate family, but we had cousins. With Chicago, we had cousins, and everybody got together every Sunday for somebody's birthday because there were a bunch of aunts and uncles, and all we did was sit around the table and talk. That's how we learned our voices. That's how we problem solved, and everybody was expected to, and everybody's wisdom was accepted. Like your voice as a 7-year-old, as long as it was polite, meant something. And a lot of the learning happens in the conversation. But if people don't have that table, right? If they haven't cultivated that, IMO, we want that to be a place where people come and they just feel some way in the conversation seen, and maybe they get a little wisdom along the way, and that it's fun too, I mean, we act silly, play games, give people a chance to hear the unfiltered me, the unfiltered us, rather than the political sort of gotta say everything right in just the right way, can't make a joke, or else somebody's gonna think, everybody upside tight. And it's like, well, let's all just settle down, because that's where the learning and the familiarity, the trust gets rebuilt. So we're having a good time, just being us, just like you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
People watching because there's so much bad information out there. It's refreshing to hear good information from the heart, genuine information. So many people worried about being first and being wrong instead of just coming with the right information. So that's why people watching, because it's refreshing to hear y'all talk and to hear y'all give good information.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Let's go back to Chicago. South Side, Euclid Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Y'all slept in a room 3 inches apart your whole life.
Yeah.
Your husband said y'all was the Black Leave It to Beaver.
That's
Explain that.
Well, it's spoken from a man whose life was upside down in so many ways. I mean, he didn't know his father, grew up biracial kid in Hawaii, I mean, so his world was his upbringing was so completely unconventional, right? Compared to us. And then to meet us and to come to 74th and Euclid, it felt like, okay, dinner was at 6, there was healthy conversation. Dad came home from work, Now, we were the broke Leave It to Beavers, I mean, we were living above our aunt, My dad was driving his deuce and a quarter, until it went into the ground,
Guys, it was a small apartment.
It
was really a 1-bedroom apartment that we converted into 2 bedrooms, and we used the main living room split and made our 2 bedrooms together. The room that was supposed to be the bedroom was my mother and father's bedroom, and then the dining room was our living room. Okay. And our kitchen.
We just made a house.
We just made
we get creative
a house.
now.
Yeah, right.
But I will tell you, we used to do everything. I mean, we used to hit balls in there, shoot baskets. We thought the place was huge.
You didn't know no better. Slide down the hallway in the socks.
Oh, man.
Did you put the hanger on the door as a basketball hoop?
We put
Oh, my
sock
God.
in there?
We put the hanger on the hoop, but before we put the hanger on the hoop, we used the lamp and a Nerf ball as the ball, and the lamp was the basket until we forgot and left the ball in there, and Mom turned the light on and it burned up the ball.
I think that was you. The ledge on the door sill on the top, that was Craig's first hoop, right?
Yes.
So the goal, my dad would put a penny on the ledge of the door, and he had to jump and get it. And if he could jump and get it, he could keep it, right? So those were he was.
Now you got your ops.
My plyometrics.
Growing up like that, humble beginnings, then seeing your sister from South Side Chicago on the way to the White House. What's your feelings?
Well, so it was sort of a progression, right? And so if you can imagine, when she met Barack, he was just a lawyer, and he had just done some community organizing, but he was just like a regular guy.
He was just a nice young man.
He was a nice young man, and he was at our house for Thanksgiving early on in their relationship, And I was playing the big brother, so I was like, come here, man, let me talk to you, bruh. so what do you think? What do you think you're gonna do with this?
Plans with my sister.
Well, plans, you're gonna stick with law. He said, well, I think I might go into politics. I was like, oh. And I said, I said, you want to be like a mayor or an alderman or something? He was like, no, I was thinking I'd maybe run for Congress, senator maybe, and then maybe even run for president. And I was like, shh, man, you don't want to talk like that. If my aunt Gracie heard you, she'd think you crazy. So don't tell too many people that.
How old is he at this time?
Yeah.
How old is Barack at this time? How old is
How old?
He
So
had
how old
been
was he when you all met?
Oh, he had to been like 26,
Oh, wow.
27.
So, and I was a year younger than him.
Okay.
But I didn't realize that. I just figured we were around the same age. And I was like, you can't say stuff like that around here. People they'll think you're crazy. And lo and behold, jump ahead.
Jump ahead a few years.
And I'm in Orlando when he gave the big speech. I'm in Orlando for AAU Nationals. I'm going recruiting. I'm at Northwestern. I asked Bill Carmody, who's our head coach there, I was like, can I have the evening off? Barack's doing his speech. He was like, of course. And I'm in my hotel room, shorts, t-shirt, and I'm sweating, nervous. And just because I wanted him to do well. And he knocks it out of the ballpark. And the next day people are saying he could eventually run for president of the United States. It's still, when I think about that, it just never really hit me until we were on our way to the not an inauguration, but
the election
night
Grant
when
Park
he
in
won
Chicago.
in Chicago. The whole time we're like talking like we are now. Nobody could believe it. Even Barack, to me, couldn't believe it because we're sitting in the kitchen at their house waiting for the results. And we thought, oh, this is gonna be a late night. It's gonna be like 2 a.m. before we find out. We had just finished dinner, so figure it's about 7 o'clock. And all of a sudden, everybody's phones start buzzing. And we always kept our phones away from the table when the kids were there and we were all talking. And everybody's phone starts buzzing. And Barack picks up his phone, looks at it and puts it back down, comes back, sits at the table, and we're all talking. And he says, well, looks like we won. Said it just like that. You remember that? The way he said it was so cool. It was like, I knew I was gonna win.
Yeah.
And it didn't register until we were in the motorcade going down to the election night. But that was a long story. I wanted to tell you that story to say, through all of that, my sister's been the same person, really. People just got to know how smart, how accomplished, how thoughtful, how generous she is. And it's been great.
Glad we're getting this on tape.
It's been great to watch. It's a proud moment for, a big brother.
I spent all my life being Craig Robinson's little sister.
Poor thing.
I mean, because he was Mr. Basketball Star, Mr. All Ivy, and we went to the same college. Came on campus and was like, "Oh, you Craig's little sister, you Craig's little sister." I'm like, "Yeah," and I was proud of it. And now,
when did he become?
It was that night.
That night, it was
all
like,
changed, huh?
You Michelle Obama's brother. I was like, yes, I am.
There you go. For you, excitement, hesitation, nervousness, like what's going through your mind? Because this is a huge shift, the first in the history, and it's just a crazy history. But what are your inner thoughts during that time?
I mean, it was really all over the place. And, it's not just that night. I mean, it's the run to the presidency is a 2-year process. I mean, you start first of all, you start announcing, and that's a battle, right? Because your husband tells you that he's going to do something that's going to fundamentally change your life. And my first reaction was, hell no.
Right.
No, why? Why would we want to do that? We're the Beavers. We're the Cleavers. We're doing just fine. We live in a lovely house. We're near family. Girls are good. Why would you want to go and do something that crazy, People, it wasn't that I didn't believe in him. I didn't believe America was ready. And so much I knew he was talented. I knew he was gifted. I knew he would be phenomenal. I knew he had that perfect combination of sharp intellect ability to connect, the charisma, all this stuff that we miss. He had it.
Desperately.
So my first reaction was no. And it took my brother, it took a whole lot of people to convince me that, when somebody has that kind of passion for something, I didn't want to be the one to say no. And then I didn't want fear to guide my decision, because that's what it was all about. It wasn't that I didn't believe in him. I was just scared. And so I had to think long and hard. Well, if I wasn't married to him, I would want somebody like him to run. He's the person that we say. So I can't be selfish and be like, I want this all to myself. So there was that part of it. And then, just like anything, I'm competitive. So we're going to run, we're going to win, I'm going to help, I'm going to be good at this. So then you just throw yourself in, campaigning in Iowa, giving speeches. Some of it was fun, some of it was crazy, a lot of it uplifting, because we were in parts of the country where you would think that a Black couple with the name Obama coming through would just be turned away. But the truth of our nation that I want to remind people is that folks find it hard to hate up close. And when you get to know people and you're sitting in their kitchen tables and they're talking like we're talking, you could see people start to melt almost. You hear our story, how we grew up, how Barack grew up. You get a chance for people to unpack and get beyond race. Watching that transformation was empowering, right? I mean, it was hopeful.
Yeah.
It was all the things you want to believe about this country, and we were seeing it, right? So there was that jubilation. And then there was just when they started going after us. Now I'm pissed. You going after me, you going after my husband. You now take this thing that's really good and you play with it. And that was true on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. That was true for white leaders, and it was true for Black leaders too. A lot of people were disappointing. A lot of people, let you down. But then in the end, it was just like, by the time you get 2 years in, you want to win. You want to get it done, and you're ready for the work. So it was a roller coaster. And at the core of it was, how am I going to raise these little girls and make sure that they're sane through it? I was like, we can get through anything, but what would this do to them? Yeah. Because I wanted them to come out on the other end as two people I would know and recognize. And that's what having our mom move with us to the White House, I mean, Barack and I, we're solid parents, but I didn't want the girls to come home to that big house to strangers when we were working or traveling. There's just something about, that house is like, they're butlers and florists and ushers and all this stuff. And I was like, this is not normal. We grew up sharing a bedroom. It's like, my kids cannot think that this is normal. So the one way to make sure that was true was to have them come home to Marion Robinson sitting there going, okay, you know what you're supposed to do. You ain't cute, get your homework done, Yeah. Plus that dose of, I love you more than anybody. My mom got in the car every day in their motorcade and rode to school to drop them off, because I didn't want them riding to school with a bunch of security. And I wanted them to be in the car, just even if nothing was said.
Just have it.
Just have your grandmother there. And she was that for us. And that gave me the security that, okay, we'll get through this, So it was all of it.
I love it.
All of the feelings.
You guys grew up on the top floor, living above Aunt Robbie with her music school. The South Side is the epicenter for, a lot of soul music. Curtis Mayfield, Earth, Wind and Fire, Shy Lights, Minnie Riperton, to name a few. How instrumental was music in your guys' upbringing and still today?
Huge. And it started with our grandfather. So before everybody had houses with speakers in every room, and he had jerry-rigged his whole house. Every room had a speaker. Now there were wires,
and they weren't
everywhere.
matching.
And they
You
were
know,
just,
they
it
were
was,
the speaker
How
he
did it
found.
sound? I want to know how it
it
sounded.
was, the
Amazing.
sound was great.
It was surround sound before surround sound
Surround
started?
sound.
before surround sound.
He had 2 speakers,
Uh-huh.
reel-to-reel tape.
2 turntables before people knew what that was
that's
about. And he was a jazz aficionado. So we grew up listening to jazz. So he had a jazz collection. Our father had a jazz collection.
And to tell you, this was our grandfather's name. We called him Southside, just by the way. He was a carpenter.
Real OG,
you know,
Southside.
Southside.
Yeah.
He played music 24/7. I mean, and that's how this is my mother's father. 6 o'clock, when he woke up, speakers blasting.
Oh, blasting too. Ooh.
Blasting. Everybody's room. Bedroom, you asleep, you learn how to sleep with the music on.
We drive up to his place and, street park. And so you drive up, you can hear 2 houses down
Count
that the
Basie,
music is on. And it's
Coltrane.
It's good jazz music.
Mhm.
And he ended up not being able to hear before he died because he played his
Blew his
music
eardrums
so,
out.
Really?
so
That's
loud.
wild.
Yeah. But we grew up, we learned how to play different instruments like the flutophone first and then the piano and recorder and different things. And unfortunately, sports hit my life, so my music tailed off. But Mish kept taking lessons, and she used to play the piano for me on game days.
Oh, really?
When I come home from school, we had a ritual. I get my pregame snack, do my homework, go on the couch. She'd start playing the piano. I'd take a nap.
That
She'd
is-
play until I
like
fell
that.
asleep.
You got to do your part.
She did her part. I mean,
Love that.
every game day. she
That's
played
live
the
music.
piano.
I mean, we normally go home and listen to like the
Yes.
radio. Like you got live music.
Live
Looking
music.
to lullabies.
Live music.
Put it right to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
ja-
So
wasn't
it was
jazzy.
a big part, and then that just sort of extrapolated to whatever was hot on the radio. And we were a big Motown house.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We had the album set called the 64 Motown hits. It was like the greatest hits at that time out of Motown. So it had the Jackson 5 on it,
Smokey
Stevie
Robinson,
Wonder,
Gladys
Smokey
Knight,
Robinson,
Pips.
the
All their
Gladys Knight
greatest
and the Pips.
hits.
I mean, all of
That
the
was our
Motown.
favorite multi-set album.
I mean, we would put that thing on, and where you could stack the albums, and it would just play one
drop
side,
down.
and then
Uh-huh.
you turn it over, and the next, the all 4 would play. It was like hours of music, and so music has always been a part. And now, I go to their house, and they got music playing all the time. You come to our house, there's music playing all the time. So
I get it. I'm the same way. You guys have witnessed Chicago go through an unfortunate transformation. The white flight and loss of manufacturing jobs led to gangs, gun violence, crack epidemic. How did Chicago change while you guys were there to what it is today?
When we were little, there were white people. I mean, it was as plain as that.
It was a
'Cause,
mixed neighborhood.
Yeah, South Shore, it was a heavy Jewish community. We lived there because my Aunt Robbie was a music teacher and a teacher. Her husband was a Pullman porter, and he was retired. He was older, but had a good pension. So they earned enough, never had kids, so they could buy a home. So they were probably among the first Black people in South Shore to buy homes, right? And to start integrating because they could afford it. And you can see the transition in our school pictures, the end of the year picture. When I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten picture, there was Faisal, there was Sopanant Consapant, there was Susan Yacker, there was Rachel Dempsey. These were all kids that lived around us. They were my friends. I went to their houses, we played. And then it seemed like after first grade, it was like the lights went out and the white people were gone. I mean, it was like somebody called and said, "Get out." Because the next year, and it registered to me later on. But as a kid, you're just like, oh, they don't live here anymore. Nothing was said. It was just they all disappeared. And so went a lot of other little things, like the park was a little less down the street. Swings didn't get replaced. The gas station on the corner, started carrying liquor. The liquor store became more the liquor store than not. Craig was more of the street dude because of basketball. I mean, I stayed around the block and played, but you went up and, got your, and my dad was very clear on, you need to go to the courts and learn how to play with everybody.
Right.
So you saw more of how the neighborhood changed.
I could see it from that standpoint. Every now and then there'd be a couple of white guys up at the basketball court, and all of a sudden it wasn't. But to Misha's point, it was just like, oh, well, they moved. And somebody moved in, and we just were friends with the people who moved in, But you could really see a change at the park because there was this huge softball league that happened there. 16-inch, no gloves, guys are playing. It was sort of like a beer league, but it was completely integrated when we first lived there. So you'd have some all white teams, some all black teams, some mixed teams, and what they had in common, they played softball, and afterwards they drank beer and were telling jokes along the street.
All that mattered.
Until the lights went out. And then all of a sudden, they were all black teams. And to Misha's point, the park didn't get cleaned up as much. There were more vagrants. It was just...
the school struggled more.
The school had a tough time.
You had more disruption in the classroom, all the things that would happen. And slowly but surely, white folks were moving further south into the southern suburbs. And that, as I would come to study, that was literally white flight. And the point that I make to people who were fleeing, it's like, you all were fleeing from us. That's just sort of the crazy thing. Like the cleavers, because that's all we mowed our lawn, planted flowers. We were A students. Most of the kids around us were the same. Parents went to work. People had jobs. But because of the color of our skin, they were afraid of something. And the point is, that's what we have to realize as a people in this country. What are we running from? You're running from us. You're running from Michelle and Craig. And for the people who are still running, 9 times out of 10, you were running from a decent family with good values, trying to get ahead just like you. This country, these neighborhoods don't belong to anybody. We're all trying to get it together, but yeah.
You ran into someone named Dee Dee. Tell us who Dee Dee is and the day you gained the respect.
I like how you frame that there, Matt.
Well, I was kind of always, I like playing by myself. I like my imagination. I like my dolls. I like my space. We didn't have much space, so I was that kid for a while. Craig was always, I'm going out. I'm playing. I'm out. He's out in the neighborhood, right? And there was just something in me that was like, the neighborhood's messy. Other little kids can be messy. I just know this. I had friends, but, Craig was already out there. But there was something in me, I think Mom is like, you need to get out of this house and go be a regular kid and play, right? And so there was this neighborhood across the alley from us that didn't have a street in the middle. It was a bunch of houses with a sidewalk. A lot of kids were there. All our friends were over there. And it was a good place to play because you could go in between houses and not be in a street. And, it's just the regular old, you're kind of the new girl, but I'm not because I'm Craig's little sister, and there was one girl that decided she wanted to test me, right? Just like, who are you? You talk like a white girl. What about this? And what about that? And it was like, I'm either going to have to deal with this or I'm going to have to dead it, right? in the vernacular, that was just sort of like, that's probably why I didn't want to have to go out, because you have to go out, you have to be out, you have to earn your spot out. And I was like, do I really want to do that?
Do I need it?
Do I need it?
It was beneath her.
But then I like my friends. I like playing piggy and tag and softball. The cute boys were out there. Double Dutch was out there. I was like, Dee Dee is not going to stop me from being out here. So I figured there was one time that she was giving me a little bit too much lip. And I just decided then and there, to punch her in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And we were fighting.
Yeah.
And it was that I know I took her by surprise because while he saw that side of me inside, I was a very lovely young lady. All the parents liked me because I was like, hi, Mrs. Such and such.
Mm-hmm.
But I did
Till you
punch her in the face.
She used those boxing skills.
Hauled off on Dee Dee. We fought, I think a lot of people were just really shocked. It's like, is that Michelle fighting? I was like, let me at her.
Yeah,
but after that, me and Dee Dee were cool. We were good.
I'm not gonna lie, I rewounded that part 3 times on the audiobook. I was just like, really? She got down, huh? And it initially wasn't on the rundown. I'm reading the rundown last night. I'm gonna throw Dee Dee in there. I want to really hear the Dee Dee side of it. So I love it. I love it.
Man.
Shout out Dee Dee for taking that L.
But we have we have to say that you and Dee Dee got to be friends.
Yeah.
We were all really good friends. You know how it is. So the first time you have fun.
I'm going to, not to cut you off, I'm going to one of my closest friends' wedding that I played college basketball with, and we didn't come close until we fought.
Till you had
I beat the brakes off him, but I'm gonna be in his wedding next week.
Yeah.
That's how we became like this.
So Rico.
Yeah.
Right.
Yo. He tested me one too many times. The light skin with the hair is only gonna get you so far. Sometimes you gotta step out and show them. So sometimes you got to do it.
See, I was an enforcer in a little, in my own way, shape, and form.
We all got a little bit of this.
I was
They saw
with
it
the
coming
team.
with me. They saw it coming with me. I can hide it. Craig,
Yes, sir.
you had a little hoop game there.
A little bit.
2-time player of the year at Princeton. Michelle wrote in the book that basketball seemed to unlock every frontier of you. What does she mean when she say that?
Well, you guys probably can appreciate this, but it's really hard to be one of the best at something at a young age because there's no way to differentiate yourself from the other kids. And once I started to realize I was good at basketball, that sort of gave me that differentiation, and it also gave me the confidence to do a whole lot of stuff. And it started with traveling away from my neighborhood to go play against dudes who were in the other neighborhood. I was not afraid to do that. Then I would venture to the west side of Chicago and play in leagues, and you know what you do. You're just trying to find guys to
best competition.
against.
Yep.
It unfortunately doesn't happen enough these days with our kids. We're too busy setting up the games for them, right? Like we would just do it on our own. And it really, like I was always a really good student, but that wasn't something that people rewarded you for with accolades.
Right.
Not
You
in the
usually
streets.
got
Not on the
teased.
streets.
You usually got teased for it. But then once, you hit 7th, 8th grade and you can play a little bit, then it's like, oh, okay. And so I think it helped me. It has continued to help me because even now, you guys remember when we were coming along, I'm a little older than you, coaches didn't coach confidence.
No.
They coached discipline. Do it my way or the highway. Nowadays, folks are unlocking guys' games by building up their confidence. And that's what the game did for me. It built me up. There's no way I would walk onto the campus of Princeton without having been a basketball player. There's no way. I wouldn't have even thought I could achieve that. But because of the game, you learn how to work harder on the academic side. And then next thing you know, you're at a place that, you can't believe you're there. And it changes your life.
I think we spoke yesterday on your guys' show just what sports used to teach you, not only the principles in the game, but the principles for life. It used to teach you so many life qualities that I feel like are obviously lacking in today, but I completely agree. I mean, it just gives you the confidence and I can take on anything if I could do this type mentality.
You hooped with MJ?
I did.
Talk about that.
What was that like?
Talk about that. Did he cook you?
Of course he could. I wasn't even at your level. I was just an ordinary player. Listen, so my first encounter in playing in the Chicago Summer League. Now I held my own, and we weren't always guarding each other, but that was 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Held my own, it was fine. But then once he retired and he was coming back, he needed some guys who kind of knew the game that he could sort of quietly start working out with. And he ended up, Grover,
Tim.
Tim Grover knew us, and he got me, John Rogers, who's the president of Aerial Capital Management, Arnie Duncan, who was a former secretary of education. The three of us would go kind of do workouts with him. And that's when he cooked me. I mean, cooked me. And it was so funny because he was very serious about what he was doing. Where you would think that somebody who is one of is like the greatest of all time would be taking it easy on some guys who are trying to help him get in shape. It was not like that. And you guys know him too.
That's why he's the greatest.
He was working on stuff and elbow right to the ribs. Oh, okay. All right. Let me be prepared next time. Elbow to the neck. and then finally once I got one on him where he fouled me and I made it and I fell down. And he was like, Craig, you okay? And I said, yeah, appreciate it. He's like, then get the fuck up. I was like, all right, I see what everybody's saying.
You should have been like, and one, MJ, and one.
Are you? First of all, I was in fear the whole time I was playing that he'd land on my foot and
like
twist
somehow
his
get
ankle.
hurt, right?
Yeah.
But then once he got in real shape, he started bringing in real pros because that was probably in our early 30s when that happened. So he brought in some real athletic guys who were playing. We were playing 3-on-3s, and so he used us early on. But it was a real treat, and he's always been gracious ever since. You know, I always assume that he doesn't remember me from that. And we were at David Stern's funeral. Or memorial. It wasn't the funeral, it was a memorial in New York City. And I'm walking past and I was like, Mike, Craig Robinson. He's like, Craigie, I remember you, man. Stop it. You know how he is. He just, his mind is as sharp as his game. But it was a real treat.
Great experience.
Yeah. And then I ended up, one more story, when I was assistant coach at Northwestern, then I got the head coaching job at Brown. I tried to recruit his oldest son.
Marcus?
Not Marcus.
Not Marcus,
the one who's older than Marcus, to go to Brown. He ended up going somewhere else.
South Florida or something, right? Did you go?
I think Marcus went to Central Florida.
Went to South
Central
Florida.
Okay.
Central Florida.
Okay.
But I can't.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, he ended up going to Illinois. I was like, man, you
Bonus points.
You could have come to Brown and would have been starting
the man
and Ivy League school. But not everybody understands the
big picture.
The big picture or wants the big picture. Yeah. So
interesting.
It was really neat.
It's hard to believe neither one of them was good. That's crazy.
By the way.
This is why your show so popular.
Jeez. By the way, you know how you really feel. The WNBA has been a really hot topic. You know, we discussed off-camera a project you guys were potentially working on a few years ago that I thought was great. Maybe you guys will be able to bring that back. But what is your guys' thoughts on just the growth of the league and how it's a real topic of conversation right now? And on top of that, the ladies fighting for, I just sat down with Kelsey Plum a few days ago before we came out here, and their revenue share is completely different. For those of you who don't know, I think the NBA is a 49-51 window split.
Yep.
They get 9% of their split. So when it's a little misinformation when people keep, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. They want a different revenue split. They want more, a different cut of the pie. But what is your guys' thoughts on just the growth of the game and how it's, really common now to?
I mean, there are two ways to look at it. They've come a long way. Things have changed. There is a league. There are stars. It's growing. There are owners like the size are, really making the investment. All that's wonderful to see. But we just had a great conversation with Candace Parker, and to be reminded of how hard things were, playing in Russia and China, getting maybe 2 weeks a break on her body, a season because she had to play in two seasons.
Yep.
Being pregnant, in a league that didn't have a maternity policy. the toll that's taken on her body. I mean, and she's just 39, right? And she is one of the greats.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she will not experience or did not experience the fruits of her outstanding athletic ability is sad.
Yep.
You know why? Because she's a woman.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. So you know, politically, you want to say, well, it's great, they're making their way, but you know, I say faster, better, quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do women athletes have to jump through so many hurdles? And it's not just in basketball.
Across
you
the
know,
board.
Allison Felix can tell you the same story. You know, we haven't figured out how to recognize and pay women for their talent, even though their name and likeness, people are making money off of them. You know, Nike still uses Allison Felix's name and likeness, but they wouldn't pay her when she got pregnant. You know, women can have babies and dunk and run fast and, you know, do it all. But why are we constantly, you know, third in line for the, you know, for the payoff?
There's just a lack of investment. You know, you guys you've been in the league. You see why certain teams win a lot of games.
Oh yeah, starts at the top.
It starts at the top,
no question.
And if there's only a couple of really understanding, I don't want to say good, I want owners who understand. It's like any other investment. You put the resources toward it,
behind it,
it will start to grow. And it's just been interesting to see what has taken them so long to start moving in that direction. I used to think it was okay, once people start to watch it, and it'll start to grow, but it has never been any more popular than it is now. So now it's got to be, let's negotiate something fair. Because when I'm with you, it was in the last couple of years that I knew it was 9% or 7%, whatever it is. 9%, and not closer to 50%.
Yeah, I think it's more the WNBA, and it's really on them because tennis get paid well. They take care of them. The soccer girls, they get paid well. I think they solely singling out these girls. That's how I look at it, because no other women's sport is really going through that.
Yeah.
You know, in tennis, they get treated great. Soccer, they get treated great. You know what I'm saying? It's just the WNBA. So why is that is my question.
I think too, it's also the contrasting compared to what men are making and doing compared to what, you know, the women are doing. But one thing I think has helped the growth of the female game of late is the storylines. And obviously with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese starting and developing their storyline in college, and obviously, you know, you start hearing about them in high school, then their storylines really start to develop in college, and to bring all that same energy into the NBA. And I think that was kind of an injection of just life and support. But the one thing I don't like about it is I feel like people feel like if you like one, you can't like the other. Like both these women can't. Unfortunately, they're going to synonymously be linked for the rest of their careers, whether they like it or not. But I also think the storyline helps both of them. What are your guys' thoughts on kind of the either or mentality in this?
Yeah, Matt, I want to speak to that because I've always said if it was two guys, it would be okay to
totally fine.
Root against one of them and for the other.
Magic and Bird.
That's what happens in sports.
It would root, but it wasn't not necessarily the hate.
Yes,
I feel like.
Really? So I thought a lot of folks hated the Celtics.
Oh, you're talking about back with the Magic.
It was
Bird
worse.
Era. You're right.
Yeah.
It was worse.
You are right on that. You are right on that.
That's what I mean. And what it's not okay for the. I think the storylines of a real rivalry is good for the game.
Yes.
And the hate is the hate. It's part of social media. It's part of society today. But I thought I have been saying for the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, you've heard me say this, that the women's game needed real drama, not fabricated drama. You needed real drama. And for the first time in the last couple of years, you saw actual beef, real beef.
Real
And
smoke.
it started in college, though.
I love it.
And they transferred it to the NBA. So that's how they got that light. So you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
And so use that. Use that, and then tell the good stories, tell the bad stuff, but use that because that's what draws people to sports.
Right.
Because
Storylines.
you root against everybody else who's not your team.
Yeah. And the hero villain approach has always been good for sports as well.
It's always been good, and it's the real reality TV.
I think the tough thing is the social media element to it, but that's true across the board. I mean, we've talked about this on our show. It just, it just takes a normal occurrence. These young kids today, what they have to go through, what they have to be able to withstand, because social media is such a huge part of their world. I mean, there's the hate, but now the hate is in your room, on your phone, with you all the time. And you can't, for whatever reason, tell these kids to turn it off because they're making their living that way. Right. I mean, that they now are expected to stay engaged. So I think that makes it feel even worse. But as you point out, that's happening in sports across gender. It's just harder now to withstand other people's horrible opinions.
Yeah, I'm glad that mental health is a conversation now because of that.
Yes.
And we talked a ton yesterday just about how my approach to my kids is very mental. It's because of, keep it real, there's a lot of idiots out there with voices now. And not everyone deserves it, but just the negative energy that's constantly drawn on these athletes and really just people in general. And again, that's why I feel like the conversation of mental health is so important now, because there's just, anytime you turn anything on, it's just negative.
Marriage and relationships, becoming the first lady. Playing basketball, we were blessed to have veterans in the locker room, right? To kind of give us the ropes and to not make mistakes. Becoming the first lady, is it an OG first lady that reached out to you? Like, this is what you got to do, girl.
OG first lady, I like that.
Is there an OG first lady that reached out to you?
Who's your vet?
Well, let me tell you what I did do as being the first black woman. I knew that it was I knew I wanted to come in and do things differently. That I had to bring my authentic self to the role, and there was a question of how was the country going to respond to that. Part of my strategy was, before I make changes, let me show respect to the OGs. Let me let people understand that I know the history and I get the job and I value what other people brought to it. So in that vein, in my first year, at least, I made it a point to reach out, have lunch with, invite over every living first lady that was alive and could make the trip. Number one, because I wanted to send the message that, when your family goes into the White House, regardless of what party you're in, your family lives there. Right. That's the house of your family. My kids have lived longer in the White House than they've lived in any house. Wow. So there is, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to everyone. So I didn't want a Republican former first lady to feel like she couldn't come back to that house, that she wouldn't have access to it because I was there, because it's like that house meant something to you. And in order to do that, it was up to me to extend the olive branch, to sit down, to listen, to ask questions, to hear, tell me how you did it, what your challenges were, right? Not everybody else did that. I haven't gotten a lot of calls, but I think that there's some people who are looking for some OG advice and others who don't want it. I wanted it, and I felt that it was useful. And as a result, I felt like we had a lot of support from other administrations, first ladies' offices. It wasn't just first lady to first lady, but my chief of staff was very connected to Laura Bush's chief of staff. There are always questions that would come up, protocol, what did you do here? How did you handle this? I wanted my teams to have some kind of, place to go for advice and to feel like there was a community, a camaraderie. Not everybody, has approached the job that way, but that's their prerogative. That was how I chose to approach it.
When did you try to put Swerve and Michelle Obama spin on the White House? When did that feel come in?
I think that was right away.
Soon as.
Yeah, because First of all, we ran on, it was a campaign that wasn't just me and Barack. There were a lot of people who got us there. And in every step we took, the question was, how do we keep bringing people along with us? You don't just get to that house and close the doors behind you. And, our motto was, we're the people's house.
Right.
And we wanted the people to be defined very broadly, right? Some of the things we would do, like even when you do a state visit, for example, one of the things I thought is that, okay, we have these large state dinners where the presidents of other countries come to the White House, and it's, black tie, and, ambassadors are invited and the top donors are invited. I was like, well, what about everybody in the city, who's impacted by this state visit? How do we incorporate the kids from public schools around the area? So for every state dinner, we would do a companion tasting and invite some kids to come and sit at the tables and see the, if we had entertainers come, we'd do a companion event in the afternoon where the entertainers would agree to sit down and talk to the kids.
Cool.
For the opening ceremony, we would invite little kids to come and wave and to see for every chance we got, the question was, how do we get more people here? And then when we weren't bringing people here, for me, it was important for me to go out, because if you're building relationships with people, you can't just invite them to your house. Right. You got to go to their house too,
show that effort,
to show that there's some respect for your house. So off the record, for my entire time that I was First Lady, I made it a point to try to go to every public high school in the DC area, off the record, and to just go talk to kids, because I thought that there was some power in the First Lady's motorcade driving up into Anacostia, and for me walking in those doors, usually with kids not even knowing. I'd ask them to set aside a group of seniors or juniors, tell them that it was the superintendent or whatever, and then I'd show up, and then I'd just sit for hours, because it would take kids a second to stop crying or to realize that it was happening.
Well, seeing is believing.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
Especially in a position like yours.
Yeah, and my whole point was, what we do is about you, and your community is important enough that we need to come to you too. So those were the kind of, if you want to say, Obamification of, the White House. It was just opening it up. Music was big for us in the White House. We had a whole array of music series ongoing. We honored Stevie Wonder. Prince performed at the White House months before he died. I wanted to make sure that every Black diva that maybe would never be invited to sing in the White House got invited. Shaka Khan sang at the governor's ball. Diana Ross did an event. Janelle Monáe was dancing on tables for the South Korean state dinner. We had a BET R&B blowout at the end with Belle Biv DeVoe and Poison being sung on the walls.
Y'all just brought some flavor to the house. That's it.
Bringing a little flavor. And it wasn't just R&B, but it was country. It was Broadway. It was dance. It was theater. I did one event where we just invited all these designers to the White House because I was known for fashion. But I never really talked about it in the White House. So we had a day where we invited some of the top design students to come to the White House for the day, to meet with Anna Wintour, to drape fabrics with, some of the top designers, to spend the whole day in the White House. Those were some of the things that just kept saying, this house is yours. We are you. You belong here as much as the Hootie Doots. And that was, to me, that was the most valuable way for us to use that space.
Make it impactful.
For the time
Definitely
we were
the
there.
flyest First Lady, for sure.
No question.
One more question, though.
Yeah.
It's just a funny question. Was it any Louisiana hot sauce or Tony Sasseries in the White House?
All
Bristol.
up and down the place.
Okay, all right, cool. I just want to hear that type
What?
of stuff. You never hear that.
Well, first of all, the question is, was anybody frying chicken up in the White House?
Yeah, that
and
too.
The answer was yes. Plus yes. At the last party that we had, the going away party, which was full of tears, and it lasted, some of the parties would last till 3, 4 in the morning,
Yes.
where
Yes.
people were really,
Enjoying themselves.
enjoying themselves.
Fellowshipping.
And at the last, the midnight snack that was brought out were chicken and waffles.
Oh man.
And
My alley.
so everybody, and that's what everybody said. It was like, oh,
Yes.
Perfect
chicken
top it
and
off.
waffles.
Perfect top it off. This has been great. We got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to jump to quick hitters. First thing to come to mind, let us know. Michelle, you had a very
This is funny.
You had a very famous quote.
This is funny.
When they go low, we go high.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still have to go high?
We'll get there, but we won't really go there.
The true answer is, no. Sometimes
It was good at the moment.
it's some,
Yeah. Let's meet them where they're at now.
well, here's the
Bring 'em
thing.
up.
Here's the thing. Going high is about being strategic.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's really my point. That doesn't mean you don't feel it emotionally. That doesn't mean you don't get angry, but that means that our response needs to be strategic and have a goal beyond us just being mad.
Right.
Because that's just, I don't want to waste my mad. Right. So
Ooh,
let's,
like that.
let's
My mad.
let's be thoughtful about what we say, why we say it, what's the plan, where
Okay.
we headed. That's what going high is.
Gotcha.
You think I got some mad to waste?
No, shit's all gone.
All gone. I'm all out of mad.
You got to borrow it from somebody else.
Both of you. This question is both of you. One album you can listen to with no skips.
Oh, that's easy for me.
What?
That's The Way of the World, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
listen to
Classic.
just play the whole thing,
Mhm.
flip it over, and play the other ones.
Stevie Wonder's Talking Book.
I knew yours. Talking
Classic.
about. Yeah, okay.
What music artist, again, for both of you guys, will we be surprised to see on your playlist?
I mean, there's so many. I love Billy Joel. I love Elton John. I love Pianist. I love that, like, dun, 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 dun. It's like, how'd you do that? How'd you make that piano sound that way? Diana Krall. So
Yeah, Neil Diamond.
Okay.
I'm surprised to hear that. Neil
Neil Diamond.
Diamond. Oh.
Huh? Yeah,
Have Glorilla on your?
Glorilla. you guys gotta explain that. I still have young kids,
Yeah.
15 and 13, so I still got.
See, but I wouldn't be surprised with. See, that's why I was like, of course, Glorilla, of
Yeah.
course, rap, R&B, all of that.
Yeah, I got
you
all
know?
that. I
in
got
the
all that.
mix.
Yeah.
This is a very important question right here.
Grits, salt or sugar in your grits?
Oh,
Salt.
salt.
No way.
Both.
No way. Butter and
Both.
sugar. A whole
Both.
gallon of sugar.
Salt, butter, and sugar.
No, now you got oatmeal.
And very bland oatmeal.
Cheese and salt.
Yeah, if anything, I'll have cheese in
and
my
salt.
grits.
I'm salt, sugar.
I'm
I
a
can put some
savory
scrambled
grits.
eggs in there, some butter.
Yeah, butter.
Well, then what do we have? Now we just have
Gourmet grits.
we have
Yeah,
mush.
gourmet grits.
Guilty pleasure.
A very dry martini up, olives, no vermouth, basically.
What does dry mean?
No vermouth. It's just vodka.
just
you know,
straight-
Just
cold-
straight,
cold
straight,
vodka.
straight to the
Yeah,
money.
one to the dome. Yeah, okay.
Straight to
Yeah.
the money.
One to the dome. I like that.
My guilty pleasure would be Harold's Fried Chicken from the south side of Chicago.
Good call.
When he
I've only
said
had- I only
hair, when he said hair, well, I was like, where are you going?
Damn.
That's the original. They got them in Atlanta now, so we
you
get it
heard-
a little bit, but the original is
That's her
Chicago.
joke. She stabbed at him like I be stabbing at you. She's like, you said hair.
And then
I started
she's like thinking,
where?
Y'all too, bro.
Yeah. I be throwing jabs at him.
I know.
Jabs too.
Look at that. That's
do me
never
like
going
that all the
anywhere.
time.
It's not going anywhere.
do me
Not
like
even
that all
getting
the time,
grade.
bro.
Not even getting grade.
MJ, LeBron, Kobe. Rank them.
Ooh.
I'll let the queen go first.
Okay.
MJ, LeBron,
Kobe.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Your order? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, really? We
MJ,
matched.
LeBron, Kobe.
Oh.
Yeah. Very good. I'm
right.
impressed. I'm impressed.
That's just me personally.
Yeah. It's everybody personal.
Personal
that's
question.
It's a personal question.
One book everybody should read.
The book I read every couple of years is Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon.
Song of Solomon.
Song of Solomon. Toni Morrison is my favorite author of all time. And, you know, she writes in metaphor and, you know, her prose are just awesome. So Song of Solomon.
I would go Malcolm X's autobiography.
If you could see one person on our show, who would it be?
But
You have to help us get your answer on the show.
your husband.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Boom!
Is there an echo in here?
Barack Obama would love.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
That's crazy.
Perfect.
Crazy you said that.
Let's call his people.
Yeah. Yo,
No,
you
he
know,
would.
You know how to get a hold of him?
I think I got his number.
Yeah, we
I
got
got
to
his
hold you.
Darn, that was gonna be my
I think I got his number.
Look, if you were talking about sports, I mean any sport. I mean, you name it, it's a, you
But I
know,
think
and he knows about everything. So he would have a ball.
when we have him on the show, if we have him, we're gonna have
No, not if.
when we have him, we're gonna have a live game of horse.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
yes.
I want to see what that left
Okay,
hand
Crystal,
about. Yeah.
you know,
That'd be dope.
We're gonna talk about that
delivery.
too, but we'll wait to get there.
Last question. If you were to have a biopic, who would you want to play you?
Ooh.
Oh gosh.
On
Oh,
the spot. Final
you
question.
go first.
Well, nobody's gonna do a biopic on me.
But you're
They
going to
might-
be in it.
You're gonna be in it.
Oh,
You're gonna be in it.
It's a
man.
big part of her life.
Well, you know
geez.
what?
That's
what
a good
era?
question. I have not thought
Any
about
era, dead or alive.
who could
Oh.
play me.
Cheryl Lee Rolfe, because I just love her these days.
Okay.
Big guy, bald
I was
headed.
gonna say Denzel.
Big
but
guy, bald headed. I would go Forrest Whitaker because he's killing it right now on TV. And
Forrest Whitaker.
yes, he's playing.
See, I would.
Oh,
I
what's
was
that?
I was gonna say before she said Denzel. I was gonna say Samuel L. Jackson.
but neither one of them can hoop. You need somebody that can hoop a little bit.
Oh, what
You think Forrest Whitaker can hoop?
Absolutely
I'm
not.
not better than
Look
them.
at that one eye. Who's the dude? Who's what's your name's brother?
Whose brother?
Wood Harris's brother.
Wood Harris that play on BMF?
Yeah.
He would be great. He would be
brother.
great. His brother, yeah,
Wood
exactly.
Harris's
His brother's
brother, I
an
forgot his
actor?
name. Yes.
Yeah,
it's-
yes, his
we
brother's
all
an
know him
actor.
too. It slipped
Yeah.
my mind.
He's a
Someone
real good
Google
actor
him.
too.
Because Wood Harris is probably a good athlete.
Oh yeah, no, he's
Because I
dope.
think he played.
He was
He played above the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Harris is
Oh,
his name.
Steve Harris.
He's
Yeah.
real good.
Okay.
He's a real good actor.
All right. Last thing. What do you think when you see this picture right here?
Is that Barack? Hey, he
That's
doesn't
from
look
the
like
archives.
this anymore. Oh my God.
Okay, now what was he doing in this picture?
I have
hanging out.
no idea. It looks like he's,
Was he collecting his thoughts?
I don't know, he's
Let me
probably
see.
about to smoke something.
That's what I'm asking. Was that about to happen? Because I could see myself in this picture, like right, sitting on the chairs over there.
He might have just finished.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he fresh off one. I can
He's
see
fresh
it.
off.
Yeah, I can see it.
Fresh
That's the
off.
same glasses I would
He
wear.
Just finished.
He's appreciating all the smoke.
Yes, indeed.
That's a beautiful picture right there.
Well, thank you guys very much for
Thank
your time.
you
It's fun.
guys.
We have some
Oh,
party
you guys
gifts.
got
Got
party
merch for you
gifts?
all.
We didn't
You guys have your own
gifts.
merch.
Yes, and
We-
my
we
wife
need
made
to
a
get
promise
our gift.
to give you a lip gloss for you and her daughters. It's called Privacy.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
That's
much
a
for
wrap.
being here.
Also, big thanks to Manifest, this new amazing 11,000 square foot building opening up
In
September. You guys come check it out.
DC.
One stop, DC,
Juneteenth hat.
barbershop,
Crazy Juneteenth.
clothes, speakeasy, bar, food. It's amazing. Thank you guys for having us.
And the most comfortable chairs I've ever
Yes.
seen.
Yes, indeed.
And they got some drip too.
Michelle Obama, Craig Robinson. You can catch us on All the Smoke YouTube and the DraftKings Network. We'll see you guys next week.
Legendary.
Peace.